Okay, so I have a question from Nate. And I got to tell you, this one's a little different, but it's fun. I love doing cardio. Well, that's good to hear. And I do kettlebell work with some hypertrophy work. I also do kickboxing, Muay Thai, which I hope to compete in to test myself and grow in self-confidence. I'm a 28-year-old male who just got his bachelor's degree. Okay. I am single, so I have the blessing of having more time to train. My question boils down, how do I get big and dangerous? In other words, how can I become the best kickboxer I can be without giving up the weight room and have some strength and muscle gains? Well, for those of you who know my work, you're going to only become a good kickboxer by being in the ring. You can go do all the curls and concentration curls and skull crushers and tricep extensions and all those nonsense exercises. And you might have, mighty pythons or armacondas, and then just get beat to death in the ring. Okay. And I'm saying it as nice as I can. So first and foremost, and of course, you're age 28, that 28, usually my cutoff for trying to turn into an elite performer is about 22, but I don't know your sport, so it might be possible. So first and foremost, you got to get in the ring, and you've got to pick a martial art to excel at. So that would be my first bit of advice. Can you look big and dangerous? It's interesting because I do know people who look big and dangerous. The DNA of people at the highest end of sports is freaky. I mean, there's millions of people who love a certain sport, billions in some cases, and yet as you go higher and higher and higher up that pyramid, nature and nurture both show up. So yeah, I think about some of the throwers I've trained with. I remember one Norwegian fellow telling me one time that he felt he was too short to be a discus thrower. He was 6'5", because living in living in Europe, he was used to 2-meter throwers, which is more the norm in Europe, because, basically the track and field is a lot more popular there. So, here in the United States, if you're 2 meters tall, you're probably playing basketball or up to a certain level, or you're an American football player. Not many 2 meter tall, 6'6" guys, just say, jeepers, I want to be a discus thrower. If you want to look big and dangerous, I think you got to look at two sides. First off, I think you got to look at your work capacity side. And, you talk about doing hypertrophy work and kettlebell work. I didn't see barbells there. And, if you really want to look big and dangerous, and I love the kettlebells and I love hypertrophy work, but you got to do the big lifts and the barbells. I think you need to, and the loaded carries too, including the loaded carries with the barbell that I particularly hate, by the way. I hate the deadlift carry. It's where you just deadlift a weight and walk with it. I hate it personally, but I got to tell you, it wakes up, wakes up the echoes when you do that exercise. You got to squat, you got to row, you probably should bench, you probably should military. You might want to try some of the stranger lifts like the Jefferson deadlift, Jefferson squat, same thing. It's also known sometimes as a straddle squat, but this becomes just who told you that. But you're going to have to make those big lifts, the big power lifts, the big Olympic lifts. I would spend a lot of time trying to master the clean. Yeah, let's go through it a little bit more logically. I think you should clean and press. I think the snatch will be very helpful in your fighting. I think the bench would be helpful for this look big and dangerous thing. But I'd rather see a military press body weight. I think that would be more valuable as a fighter than it would be to bench press, 150% body weight. I think you should squat. I think you should front squat. I think you should do deadlift variations of all kind. That's what's going to get you to be a better fighter And, you know, if you get those numbers up and you stay lean, you're going to look pretty dangerous. This just as one last thing, you know, I get a few criticisms online about, you know, who I think is a good coach and who I think programs I like. But when it comes to being big and dangerous, I think of some of the friends I've had in my life who look big and dangerous. So I have friends whose wrists are that big, okay? They're that big. If one of those people hits you with their fist, it's going to hurt a lot because they're just built better for punching people in the face. So sometimes we can overcome a lot of things in the weight room. We can overcome a lot of things with our recovery, with our nutrition. But the hardest thing to overcome is having just massive bone structure. And that's what's going to make most people look big and dangerous. I love the question. Stay with the basics. Don't get too cute, but get on the mat and start fighting more. Okay? Thank you.